Shake the confessions. Don't stir them. The Shaken Confession Podcast, where we spill the tea, okay?
Yo, 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 it's your girl, Mimi.
Hey, y'all, it's Country. How you doing?
I know you guys are wondering, it's two of us now. Jazz didn't make it. Hangover kicking the girl today. So you got us two today. We're going to go over the wonderful topic of hangovers. Doesn't everybody love hangovers? Isn't that amazing?
Nobody loves a hangover.
Right?
But we might have some cures for you guys, so we're going to get right into it.
Yeah, so our drink of the day is Bloody Marys. So Bloody Marys is like your typical hangover drink. You know, everybody drinks a Bloody Mary at the brunch the next day, or some people might even make it at home,
right.
You know. But definitely like the science behind a Bloody Mary being a good cure for a hangover is the components of the vegetables and the seasoning. It's almost similar to like if you were to have a soup and you're drinking the broth and it's kind of like soaking up, you know, that alcohol and all that kind of stuff for you. And then people don't know, but a hangover is really your body's way of kind of, I guess, craving the liquor that you just stopped giving it.
Absolutely.
So by having the vodka or different variations of Bloody Mary, that little bit of liquor is
balancing you out.
Balancing you out, for sure. And it was invented like 80 years ago by like, I think a bartender like New York or something like that. I don't really know the story, but it's something like that. For sure, I just found out that January 1st is like National Bloody Mary Day. Never knew that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know
That's
that
what
either.
Google says.
Google's great.
Right. So I'm assuming it's probably because New Year's Eve is probably like the biggest drinking day of the year. Mm-hmm. So maybe like January 1st is like Bloody Mary Day because we're all tore up from the night before. You know what I mean? So that's probably why that out. I'm
usually asleep on January 1st because we always work December 31st craziness, but
I've retired from December 31st. I no longer will work that. I'm partying with everybody else. So
I'm about to make that money.
I hear you. I hear you.
Real,
and I pass the torch. You can take it.
Got it.
There's a different ways to make Bloody Mary. You can have a Bloody Maria, which is basically instead of vodka, tequila. Mm-hmm. You could do a michelada, which is instead of alcohol, it's your choice of beer.
Which those are really popular too. I noticed that I make a lot of those when I'm out and people are asking me like, what can I get for, you know, a starter drink? Mm-hmm. Like, you want to ease into it and they don't want to do hard alcohol. So micheladas are usually one of the first starters that they have. So
yeah, for sure. I know for me, I don't know how many times you've said it, but isn't like the classic hangover line like the next day you're like praying, you like, dear God, I'll never drink again.
How much I said it.
I didn't mean it like that, but it didn't mean like that. But I'm like, it's like, isn't that like the classic thing you always say? Like you pray, you be like, oh, I'll never drink again. Oh.
And then you get up and you're like, oh, the hair of the dog that's my phrase. Just
Please explain that.
The hair of the dog.
That must be some country stuff right there.
No, it's you drink the same thing you had the night before and it balances you back to your level.
Okay.
So then you can just, you feel better. Now, that's not the healthiest way to go about it, but that's the easiest way to get you back on your feet.
I mean, is it effective? That's all
very much
we
so.
really care, yeah?
Yes, it's very much effective.
I mean, I guess.
Until 3 days later and you're like, it trashed, but.
True. I guess like hangover remedies that I've really experienced is coconut water for me, saving grace.
Really?
It's like the most hydrating thing you can drink, and it has like electrolytes and all this kind of stuff in it. So yeah, coconut water. I've heard you can sprinkle Himalayan pink salt in it as well, but that might make me gag.
I've heard that, but that's not what I'm thinking about when I'm laying there and I feel like a trash bucket. I'm like, okay, what can I get immediately? And Himalayan salt is not the first thing that I can go and get in my cabinet.
It's
but
ibuprofen, aspirin, and greasy
water,
food.
Gatorade, and a cheeseburger. Shot tequila, please, and then ready to go. Yes.
I mean, what are some other ones you've heard of? Hangover remedies.
I mean, I do stick to my hair of the dog, but sometimes I do mimosas in the morning, as well as I'm not a beer drinker, but I also heard that if you drink a beer in the morning as after your long night of alcohol, that works as well. I'm still sticking to take a shot of what you had the night before. I know it sounds disgusting, but it really does. For me, that's what does the trick.
Yeah. I hear ginger tea or just ginger.
Ginger in general. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in general, because I guess like when you're nauseated, you feel like you have to throw up. Mm-hmm. The ginger like settles your stomach. I've heard lemon water.
I haven't heard lemon water.
Yeah, I've heard lemon water. I feel like, I don't know what that would do, but that's what they say.
Hydration. I mean, obviously, just drink water.
One good thing, though, is like the night of while you're drinking is, and this is like one, man, I learned it like dive bars back in the years, is club soda and bitters.
I have heard that. I've heard that one too.
What it does?
Because I think bitter settles your stomach. After a night of drinking, and how many walk of shames have you had, lady?
You know, let me be frank first. I don't even really believe in the term of walk of shame when it like matters or like in the context of you're hungover and you go get some and it's the walk of shame after. Like for me, I feel like one, society always makes things sexist.
Right.
So it's the walk of shame for women, but men it's like, you know,
a parade.
The stride of pride or something crazy. You know what I mean?
Not
like,
the stride of pride, but
like they make it like it's this
right.
big old nice thing. But it's like for me, honestly, the only person that should be shamed in a scenario like that is if I'm able to walk out and you didn't dick me down. That's a walk of shame right there.
Oh,
that
so
he should be having.
He's shameful.
He's shameful. Like, make me like walk out of there on limp. Like, you know what I'm saying? I need to be barely walking out of there.
With the bottle. Yes.
But I will say, the only time walk of shame for me, I have to like think back, that really was like, yeah, that was a walk of shame, was November 1st.
After Halloween?
I feel like after Halloween is a walk of shame because you got to put back on
your whole costume. You can't go half costume out.
The day after, broad daylight.
What was it? What was your costume?
I mean, it's been a few. Like, let's be real.
Let's talk about. Give me one. Give me one costume. What was your costume?
I mean, if you're like a damn.
No,
like,
I'm asking you. What was your one costume? Just give me your what you had to put all the way back on.
All right. One time I was a vampire.
Okay.
But, you know, like us women, we do everything. The sexy vampire, the sexy. Right. So it was like hoish for sure. But it's like I still had like the little blood smears and the fang, like one fang in, one fang out.
A couple eyelashes over here.
Like stuck to my forehead. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah.
And so
that's probably the worst. Like having to put that back on, like titties spilling out, like not good look. Have you had a walk of shame?
I've had a couple. 2, 3, 24. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think my worst one was I was waiting. Well, now you wait on Ubers. I was waiting on an Uber and I accidentally pressed Uber pool. Was awesome. Getting in the car with a grown man and his son looking like not an elegant woman. Let's put it like that.
Well, what did you look like though?
Oh, it was there was short skirts and not a lot of tops. That's for sure. And then they're asking you questions. Oh, where were you? Where are you coming from? Where are you going? I'm like, I didn't.
And you know, Eureka alcohol,
right?
Eureka sex. Right. They knew where the hell you was coming from.
Right. They picked me up in front of someone else's house, like ridiculous, heels in hand. Walking to the car barefoot, it's not cute.
Yeah, no. I feel like there's a bigger walk of shame than actually
walking that
walk of shame where it's like having sex in the night after. Mm-hmm. I feel like a bigger walk of shame is like if you're like at an office or a workplace or a public setting and like you take a fat ass shit in the bathroom
and you gotta walk out and
you
that's
gotta
your walk out.
I feel like that's a bigger walk of shame.
I think
than
that's
getting
a huge
some the
walk
night
of
before.
Right. I think that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in like a bar. We work in bars.
Who shits in a club and bars? Oh my God.
It's the worst.
Yeah, no.
You don't want to shame somebody, but you're like, damn, you couldn't. Sometimes you just can't hold it. I mean, we all been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
You've been there too.
Let's be real. Hell yeah.
Definitely.
I no longer have a gallbladder. I had mine removed. Oh, I've been there.
You don't have a gallbladder?
Yeah, I had it removed.
This is a whole nother one.
Time for that. Yeah, that's another story. Another pod. We'll talk about that. But
okay, all right. Parts removed.
Right, parts removed. What about hangovers over the years? Hangovers in your 20s, hangovers in your 30s, hangovers in your 40s. Like, that changes.
The recovery time is all the way down for me. 20s, I would every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Not saying that I'm an alcoholic, but you go out like that. Now I'm like, out on Thursday, you're not going to see me till at least Wednesday the next week.
I definitely don't need a week recovery, but a full 24 does me some justice. Like, I know in my 20s, it's the same. It was like, you go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you work a job, part-time, full-time, whatever. Mm-hmm. If you're going in school, you have college, you're doing classes on top of just having a social life. And I don't even remember really technically being hungover. It's like, you could be on campus the next day and you're like, oh shit, gotta throw up. And you're like, ugh. And you like brush your teeth and like go to class. Like,
I didn't do that.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't do that.
I was committed, okay?
I just didn't go to class.
Oh.
It's like, not today.
Yeah, no. I had to go to class. But for sure, the recovery was way easier. You could just roll over the next day, like get an hour of sleep. You know what I'm saying? Get up, go.
I need 8 to 10 now, for sure.
Yeah, I need the full 24. Even if I'm not asleep the full 24, I need 8 to sleep and the rest of it to like watch TV, kick up my feet.
Right, dark, nobody talking to me.
Right, don't answer my phone. It's a wrap. Text me, I might text back.
Right.
Yeah. What about 40s? How was hangover?
I don't know. Anybody in here?
I don't know. So
no,
I guess
it's
when
rough.
we get there, we will let y'all know.
It's rough. It's rougher than the 30s. That's for sure.
You know what I would hate though? I feel like the worst job to have and to have a hangover is, okay, so you know those like restaurants and places you go to where like they come out with like your shots or your drinks and they like do full blown like routines.
On things.
They're like doing Cardi B, if it's up, then it's up. Like,
and you're hungover.
And hungover doing that.
Oh, here's the best. Working at Chuck E. Cheese hungover.
Oh, I'd shoot myself. Shoot myself.
I mean, I love kids and they're great, but not hungover.
Not hungover. Mm-mm. I can't even deal with my own son. The next day.
I spent the night at your house a couple weeks ago and he was bouncing all. I was like, you need to chill.
No. Put him in a cage.
Immediately.
That would be the worst. Like, I couldn't imagine being hungover, then the next day I got to do like full blown shows. Like to guests who are drinking and celebrating, like smelling the liquor. I'd be like,
like, oh, have you ever thrown up on a job?
In the restroom, but not like on people or like.
I haven't thrown up on somebody.
Oh, I was going to say, please do tell.
I haven't thrown up on somebody. I've definitely thrown up on a job for sure, but not.
Like not in a toilet? Like it didn't make it to the toilet?
It didn't make it to the toilet. We was outside. It was a festival. So like.
What happened?
It just, the night before was crazy and the day before was crazy. And the day before that was crazy. And then I was working and all of a sudden people were like, you want a shot? I'm like, yeah, sure. That didn't go very well and had to run and just throw up on the sides. Gross. Disgusting. I can't even believe it.
You held your own hair up?
It was like, it's usually pulled up like this. Let me just go ahead and put my sunglasses. I put my sunglasses on and I was like, I'll be right. And then, yeah, it was fun, to say the least. But they tipped me, so hey, moneymaker.
Wait, you were Oh, you did say.
I was working.
You did say you were working, and this is, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't.
But it wasn't on any jobs you put me on, so don't worry. Like, you're like.
You'd be fired. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, hangovers are definitely not fun, but I feel like they make the experience of like drinking and like just, especially like just being young and having fun, like they really make like.
Yeah,
You
you
make
got to
the memories
experience
of
it.
it.
You got to experience it. I mean, because you're not going to know how how life is. I feel like, if you're hungover in the morning, then I'm not going to drink like that the day before or whatever. But
Yeah.
but I definitely do think you should have like a cocktail the next day. It definitely
You are
helps.
adamant about
I'm
that.
so adamant about it.
Country, PSA. That's how you say it? PSA?
PSA? PFA?
I don't know. Like when you say like public service announcement,
It's PSA. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Country's PSA. Drink the next day. Just drink
Just
again.
get up and start drinking.
Keep drinking. Don't stop. Just drink some more.
Drink water as well.
But drink responsibly,
Responsibly. Uber everywhere. Not pool.
So we have our bartender's advice segment where we have, bartenders from across everywhere send us in questions, advice, things that they just kind of want to know from us, our thoughts. We have this week, I didn't even write it down, but it's totally if I butcher your question. My bad. But we have Sylvia from San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
What's
she talking about?
She wants to know, how do you encourage your customers to tip you?
It's a good question.
So, Country, how do you encourage tips?
I usually try to do my best to listen to customers. I pick up on little things that they say, and I do my best with customer service. Always like, do you need anything else? But not overbearing them. And if they say something like, oh, I had this today or this, that, or the other, I always ask them, I'm like, oh, so what's your dog's name? And they'll be like, I just talked to my dog. And that really, if you make a connection with them, it doesn't have to be deep. It just has to be like something that they think about and that you thought about. They're like, oh, they're really like engaged in me. And that really helps my tips all the way across the board.
Be personable.
And
sure.
I usually buy the first round.
What shift are you working? We could all pull up.
that's usually how it works. But with me personally, but
yeah, I need to be at your shifts. Like,
that's probably why I don't work at a bar anymore, because I bought the first round for everybody. But just that's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. You definitely, tips is based off of your performance. Mm-hmm. So have that at top notch first before you worry about other ways to get tips. Like, you need to have optimal service. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And once you get to that point where you have optimal service, and sometimes you just have those assholes that just don't tip. Or maybe you have, foreigners from another country. It's not their culture customs to tip. Me, I will flat out take my tip jar and put it in the middle, like reach around it to get your drink. Like, I need in your face. But definitely, I think the biggest and easiest way to go about it is when you're doing your checkout. When you're cashing them out, you're closing the tab. Would you like to leave a tip? How much, you know what I mean? Like any of those kind of like prompts of saying like, is there whatever, gratuity, however you want to say it, like prompt them. And don't be afraid to prompt them. Like, you're literally in the business of making tips.
Right.
Like, your paycheck is pennies. So
I can remember one time I was working at the Cork, and they wrote 0 on the tip line, and I was so appalled. I was like, what? And I went up to them and I said, did you guys mean to leave 0? Did I do something wrong? Is there something better service that I could have done? They were like, we left you $0. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, oh my gosh. And everybody just immediately started pulling out 20s. So sometimes they're not aware. Just they see it and they don't understand. I don't know. People are weird like that. But don't be embarrassed to say something as long as you do it respectfully, I think.
For sure. And it's definitely, too, where it's like, it's not a taboo question.
Right.
Like, literally, tipping is customary, especially in the United States, no matter where you're at. It's customary. It's not like we live in a country where it's, like, disrespectful. Because there are some countries...
Yeah, because it's already included in the price. And we don't, Americans, we don't realize that because it's not.
Right. And then you get the whole big conversation about, well, why do you tip a bartender, but I don't go to McDonald's and tip the person making my fries? You have people ignorant.
That's ridiculous.
Listen, if you don't want to tip, go buy it yourself, take it home, fix it yourself. Period. Like, that's all there is to it. Like, you're tipping for someone to take care of you. You know what I'm saying?
And when I bartend at bars, like, I'm putting on a show the entire time. I'm back there. I'm having a good time. I'm dancing. I'm laughing. I'm making sure you're having a good time. Your guest is having a good time. Or if you come in, a lot of people, I mean, I go to bars by myself a lot of the times.
Right.
Just to sit and engage with other people or the bartender. And I think that's part of the tip.
I don't know if you feel the same, but I feel like just being in the service industry, we tip exceptionally
Absolutely
higher than any like normal per se tip. Because I think like here, it goes anywhere from like 15 to 18% for like a decent tip and like 20 to 25 for like exceptional service. But I think we start at like 25.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And it's almost kind of like a FU tip. If you get really terrible service and we're like in the industry, like I'll leave something and be like, yeah.
But I also leave a verbal tip.
For sure.
I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize. And, you can pass along some information, knowledge or whatever. But I critique a lot when I go to bars too.
I do too. I don't do it like during, but towards the end, I for sure will be like, yeah, I know you forgot to put in our meal. Because like we can tell,
right?
That you were like, you looked at me and you was like, oh shit. And went to go put in my food. But it's like, let people know. Communication is key.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like if you let anyone know, oh, the kitchen's backed up, or oh, I'm putting in your order now, and then go get them a free, chips and salsa or something that doesn't cost you or whatever, or dessert on me, like that goes a long way.
It does go a long way.
It gets you more tips.
Absolutely. And that's another thing. When you, like I said, I do the first round for free, but, doing a little...
That is so
doing
crazy
little
to me.
things
You buy
like
the first round. Country, how many people do you serve in a day? That's a lot of rounds to buy.
Okay, I'm talking about like beers and stuff like that. Like, if they're like, I'll get a pitcher of beer. Now, if I buy them one pitcher of beer and they buy 5 more, you know what my tip is going to be off of that?
But what if I come in and I'm bougie as hell and I'm like, bottle of champagne?
Oh, no. Okay, first of all, not every first round is free. It's not every first round is free. I'm not buying your first bottle of champagne. Now, if you want to taste, we'll taste it. We'll do some samples, but.
Well, note to everybody, we gon' post where Country works.
All right.
So we all can pull up, because that first round on her, like.
Right.
I never knew you did that. That's amazing. And it's amazing and crazy all in one.
That's probably because some of the reasons I probably don't work at some of the spots still. But I have a very big following wherever I go.
Well, I'd follow you too. If you bought my first round, like, where are we going next?
Where are we going next?
You working
Where's your next bar?
I'm working here with you.
That's why I now do private events where everything is free.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, if you guys out there have any questions, advice, you just want a little vent about something, bartender shift, whatever.
Yeah, we're
definitely hit us up on Instagram at Shaken Confessions with an S, at Shaken Confessions. DM your questions, your stories. Don't make them 20 paragraphs long. Keep it cute. But yeah, you can be featured on a next pod episode where we can give you some advice of kind of like what we've experienced and what we have known for being, collectively, we've all been in the industry. It's been a minute.
Couple decades.
So we got you. We know what we're talking about. Definitely, we also have a YouTube channel. So anytime you want to see the drinks of the day that we have on our episodes, go to our YouTube channel, Shaken Confession Podcast, and you can see all of our recipes where we show you
how to make them,
the
ingredients, and how to do a couple different versions of them as well. Mocktail as well as cocktail.
Yeah, so tune in. We will be back. You'll see us again.
Maybe one more person. We'll see.
I don't know, 2 or 3. I don't know. You never know what you're going to get when you tune in to Shaken Confessions.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye, guys.